Good afternoon, and welcome to another diabolical version of Diatribes in the voice of doom. Now here's your dichotomous and diametrical host, voice of doom. Okay. I am going to do another one. Talk about current events in a more existential form, as opposed to reiterating what everybody else has said, which is what I've been saying for 5 years, and nobody listened. Nobody paid any attention to me. Now that everything I said has come true, and it's going to get worse. Everybody's acting like it came out of nowhere. No one gives me any credit for warning you. I didn't have a lot of solutions, but at least I warned everybody that we're going to reach a point where we can't make it. Individually and collectively. And I'll tell you why. Now, I wrote down a few notes this time because I didn't want to forget anything, but we're at odds with ourselves on an individual basis, and as a collective, we're at odds with ourselves. And we're not going to get anywhere by continuing this tribal warfare. It's only going to get worse. It's going to go from fisticuffs and yelling and rocks to more lethal confrontations. It's bound to happen. But I've been at odds with myself for, probably since my wife passed away, because with her passing, my compass of what I was expected to do and being beholden and being accountable to someone else for the good of the family is not there anymore, and I'm free to do what I want. I'm alone and I can do what I want. Now sometimes I can't do anything because I don't have the means, and sometimes I can do too much, and that's not good either. And I always had ideas that I'd like more free time to pursue my creative endeavors. And what ends up happening is I waste the day away and don't do anything creative. And then regret the time I wasted. And then when I do get free time, like not working for days and days on end, I get bored and I wish I had something to do, work-wise. And then when I'm at work, I want to quit every single day. It's been every day for the last probably 4 or 5 months that it's like I don't want to do this and I want to leave and I can't stand it and everybody's doing everything wrong. And I gotta walk on eggshells because every time I open up my mouth I usually end up saying something stupid, or I'm just on a different level. But I'm older than everybody else, and sometimes my acerbic wit and my outlook on life can be depressing for people who are in their 20s or younger, who have their whole life ahead of them, don't have the heart to say how bad things are going to be for them. But the dichotomies of life of just being at odds with myself. I want to work, but I don't want to work. I want to be creative, but I'm too lazy to start, or I start and it's not good enough, so I quit. or I have an idea for a short story and I just, might start it and then not finish it, or just not even start writing it, but just have the story in my head, and then I was like, well, doesn't sound like a, best-selling treatment for a movie, so forget it. Write a song, it's too hard to put the notes on the page because I'm not good at math, and there's a lot of math involved with writing music if you want to do it correctly. Now, that's me. Okay, now society. The main way we're at odds with ourselves, which is very destructive, is our present form of government, called a so-called democratic republic. This two-party system is destroying our country. So obvious. We've seen it with the government so-called shutdown. The dichotomy is instead of, you have two teams that want to be in charge, and the only way for one side to be in charge is for the other side to fail. Now, the government is supposed to be helping people, helping the country, but if you have one side working actively to sabotage the other side, then who's the loser? Who's the loser? Come on. It doesn't take a genius to know if Chucky Schumer, Chuck, doesn't, wants to save his political skin for whatever reason, I don't know. I want to stay in forever. But save his political hide, he has to shut down the government and insist that it's the Republicans' fault who are voting to keep the government open. Because they won't do this and won't do that, so it's all their fault. And then everybody suffers eventually when they realize their food stamps aren't coming into this month. And they might actually have to shop with their own money. And just the military being worried about their paychecks and, shutting down the monuments and shutting down the national park, whatever. It's always the little things they cut out first to make the common clay suffer. But it's sabotage. It's not helping the country. It's not helping the people. When one side is sabotaging the other, how else do we do it? All right, we have compassion for criminals. They were victims. They had a bad upbringing. We must not jail them for simply looting a store. We must release them and give them, chance after chance after chance. So crime runs rampant, but we need compassion for criminals. We need to understand mental health and help people with mental problems. Well, we don't help them because we don't have any facilities to help them with. So they're on the subway stabbing people. They're sleeping on the subways. Nobody can sit down in the subway cars because there's homeless people sprawled across the benches. So compassion for the mentally ill, but then we have to sacrifice just having even a seat on the subway, even getting down to the subway without being killed, because of our compassion. The tragedy of American compassion. Compassion for migrants, compassion for those who come in here no matter how they got here and who they are. And then we complain about the high price of housing when we're giving it away to migrants. Or communists are trying to freeze rents. And then the landlords, I saw stuff where the landlords have an apartment that they have to rent for $1,000 a month in New York, but they have to put in, $100,000 worth of repairs in order to make it habitable. And it's like, well, I'm not going to do anything, so that apartment stays empty until some sap buys it later. So they want migrants in here, but then they complain about the lack of housing or the lack of jobs, or the lack of anything. The dichotomy of odds of our self-worth. Well, I got my master's degree in engineering, but they hire people from India to come do it. So, that's another one. This is personal and with the collective. Growing older versus working forever. Because it's suddenly dawning on the millennials and the Xers that they're not going to be able to get Social Security until they're 85. And they don't have a pension, so they can't retire. And they're saying, I'm 55 years old and I won't be able to retire. It's like, I'm 60, almost 67 years old, and I can't retire. And I mostly wait tables as a living, and it's getting to where it's just absurd to think that I'm going to be 70 years old waiting on tables in a chaotic zoo of a restaurant that's huge, and sometimes they give me a section that's 2 blocks away, and I got to carry heavy plates and heavy glasses on a tray that I can't carry with one hand anymore. I'm halfway to the table and I realize I'm going to drop this if I can't set it down, and then it's going to be a mess. I mean, seriously losing strength in my arm. Okay, go exercise, fine. I guess I could do something about that, but I really don't relish the fact of waiting tables into my 70s. I really don't. Unless I can do it in such a way that I'm just a personality, but I don't really do a lot of the heavy lifting. Okay, relationships versus loneliness. It'd be nice to be with somebody, but then I gotta be beholden to somebody again. And as we all know, what starts out as a romance, love, and we are so happy with each other and we don't give each other problems, eventually degenerates to, you're a big problem, you're complaining all the time, you're wondering where I am every minute of the day, blah, 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 blah. So, do you have a relationship that's probably going to be toxic in the long run, or do you stay lonely? And I'm very loyal, and I'm loyal to who I marry, and even if the person I married is gone, I still feel like it's a betrayal. I mean, yeah, I could have a relationship, but then I gotta take down the pictures of my ex, or my late wife, and I feel like that's, sticker in the closet. I don't like that. So I'll probably just stay alone. And as I said before, working forever versus boredom. That's going to be the way it is with most people. It's like, I would like to retire, but I don't want to retire and just live on a, $1,000 pension, $1,000 Social Security, and hopefully my house is paid off, which it probably won't be, and my car's paid off, which it probably won't be. So you still got the same bills, but you'd like to be able to travel. You'd like to be able to get a sailboat, and you get a sailboat, then you got to get a car that can tow a sailboat. I can't use my Honda Civic to tow a boat or tow a RV. Everything costs money. I mean, if you were lucky enough to be born between 1946 and 1962, then maybe you were in the right position to buy your house for $35,000 and sell it for $750,000. That'd be great. I didn't do that, unfortunately, but I was at the tail end of the boomers. But I share the same trepidation and the same worries about the future, and I'm lucky to have a good son who's in the service right now, who helps me, and we'll probably have to come up with a plan, because I just can't see myself tottering around at 85 going up to tables saying, what can I get you to drink? I just don't see it. It's absurd. But I have ideas, and I think we can maybe work it out, but I want him to have a life too, and I don't want to be a burden to him. So I'm in the same boat as everybody else. And I will also say I hear a lot of people, grocery prices are so high, and the utility bills are so high. Well, I anticipated this kind of lifestyle years ago. So I've not run the heater ever. I have a space heater. I have one in one room, one in the other for winter, and I have fans for the summer because I can't afford to run my swamp cooler doesn't work. I have no air conditioning. Even if I did, I wouldn't want to run it. So no heater, no air conditioning. As far as food, a couple things I bought that I didn't tell you about was Hamburger Helper. And I'm not saying buy Hamburger Helper. I'll tell you why not to. The reason I bought it was Benjamin bought me a quart of milk before he left, and I don't drink milk very often at all. But I know if I don't drink it, it's going to go bad. So I bought the Hamburger Helper so that I could use the milk up. And I figured out a way to stretch that stuff out. I add more noodles. I can buy egg noodles in the Mexican section of the store for like 99 cents. Probably egg noodles, but they're noodles. Okay. I'll never buy Hamburger Helper again, and I'll tell you why. It costs like $3.50 for a little box of Hamburger Helper. You open the box, it's got a packet of powder that you use for the stroganoff flavoring or for the cheeseburger flavoring. And you buy the burger, and burger's not that expensive, but and it's got like half a box of shell noodles in it for $3.50. And I realized I can buy a big bag of shell noodles for 99 cents or $1. And I can use either a ragu cheddar sauce, or I can buy the packet of stroganoffs in the little packets for like $1. So they're making me pay $3.50 for a packet of powder, basically. And then you got to use your own milk and your own burger meat. So no more Hamburger Helper. But I am frugal, and I'm finding ways to be frugaler. And I'm not complaining about not having food on the table, because I have food and I can stretch out food for a long time. But it's just an existential example of how the microcosm and macrocosm kind of are the same, the way we're at odds with ourselves. And I think people should think about it and think about maybe we need a new system of government. And I ain't talking socialism, but I'm talking pragmatic problem solving, where you get the best people in their fields and do away with this duly elected idiocy where a bunch of idiots are electing idiots. It's obviously not working. If it was working, we'd be getting better, not worse. So that's my 2 cents for the day, and I wanted to thank the people that have joined. I've gotten 3 or 4 new subscribers in the last week or week and a half, which I appreciate, and it's actually good for my algorithm in a way, because I have so few subscribers that 4 more subscribers is like a 10% jump, because I am real low in the numbers. And I would love to have 1 million subscribers, even if I did have to respond to everything they ever said to me. But I'm minimalist and always will be. I'm not going to do it like the other people. And I know it's boring to watch one person just talk. I'm bored with watching one person just talk. I like to see the little snippets and snappets that they throw in and comment, but that's not how I'm going to do it, because I don't do things like other people. I don't have a smartphone. I don't run my heater. I don't run my air conditioning. I don't stand in line. I don't go to the busiest restaurants I can find. If there's a long line, I don't go there, because I don't want to do it. I don't follow the crowd. I don't have any tattoos. I just won't follow the crowd. It's not me. I pride myself on being an iconoclast and a nonconformist. So that's the way it is. This is all you're going to probably see for the rest of the duration of this channel, and I don't see much reason to do it anyway. I'm only stating the obvious that everybody else is seeing now. If you want to see stuff, go back to my playlist and watch the best of Doom, and go back in my videos, go back to 2021, 22, and see how right I was. Because I'm not that topical in current events where, if it's 2 or 3 weeks old, it's old news. No, you go back 3-4 years, see what I was saying. Find it interesting, maybe. So this went longer than I was thinking it would, and I'll just leave it there. I can talk more about this later, if there is a later. So good night, and see you later. Bye-bye.